There is Louis Saha, cup-tied then today. He scored on his return to Loftus Road last week against his former club, but having to sit out this match this afternoon. Fulham have never won the FA Cup, but they did make it to the final back in 1975 when West Ham got the better of them at Wembley. Since then, well, until recently, they've had only limited success really in this famous old competition. Although a couple of seasons ago, you'll remember they were semi-finalists when going out to Chelsea through a John Terry goal. Well, they'll have arrived, though, at Old Trafford in good heart today. Excellent progress under the Premiership's youngest manager has earned them plenty of plaudits this season. And, of course, their league win here back in October will be a major source of encouragement to them. Here is Steve Keane, then, who is taking on the reins. He's been in constant touch with Chris Coleman throughout the week. I gather the manager himself is keeping in touch via the telephone, watching the game from his hospital bed. Will United have another off day? Well, they've had one or two of them lately. Fulham won't be short on spirit, and shortcomings at the back for United in the absence of Rio Ferdinand have certainly offered plenty of incentive to recent opponents seeking a way to counter the reigning league champions' outstanding individuals. Rob Styles is today's referee. Fulham did really well to hold United in London a week ago, but in general haven't quite lately matched their sharpness of the early weeks of the season. They have fallen back and also needed a couple of matches to overcome before clinching their place in this FA Cup quarter-final. A little too soon then, Rob Styles. In his last two games. International. Those two goals I mentioned there included one last week in the 1-1 draw with United after Saha had struck so early on for the Reds. Here's Roy Keane. Now Scholes. Aiming for Ronaldo. Now Phil Neville, right back today, having played so effectively in midfield for most of the season. Here's Neville again, replacing brother Gary, who's serving a 4-match ban. He was sent off, of course, in the last round against Manchester City. Edwin van der Sar, who's had a splendid season in goal. Ronaldo, linking with Giggs. And that's a trip surely on Nick by Sean Davis. It promises to be a really combative battle there in the centre of midfield. The likes of Barton Davis and Clark and Scholes. Ryan Giggs, who I'm sure will have licence to drift. Of course, has taken on a senior role with set pieces since the departure of David Beckham. That's Fletcher there with him. Van Nistelrooij among those waiting in the middle. Keane's gone up as well. Finally, it's Ryan Giggs. And O'Shea struggling to keep the ball alive. It will be a goal kick. O'Shea is looked a little uncomfortable in recent weeks, but then as a unit, they really have struggled defensively, United. Louis Saha already has proved a wonderful signing for United. He's made an immediate impact, as he underlined last week at Loftus Road. On by Legwinski, one of the French players at Fulham. We do send our best wishes to Chris Coleman, who has been under the weather, suffering from a mystery virus that's laid him low. He's been very poorly, but is hoping now for the perfect tonic today. A Fulham victory or even survival in this Old Trafford cauldron. It won't be easy, that's for sure. United really fired up after recent criticism. But initially, now it's Giggs floating out to that far side. Back comes Legwinski. And Moritz Volz, the young German, who settled in really well at Fulham at right back. There's McBride, will be hoping to cause some problems in the air for Wes Brown. And he has looked rather fallible in those kind of situations in recent weeks since regaining his place after a long-term injury, Wes Brown. You do have to bear that in mind and give him time, really, to reacclimatise. That certainly is the manager's view. Up by Davis. Now Volz. This is Steve Malbranque, being policed rather heavily by O'Shea, but away from him and from Nicky Butt as well. At least he would have been, but for the outstretched leg of the England international. He can be a real source of irritation, Malbranque, to United today, with his ability on the ball. They've made a fairly assured start to this game, have Fulham. This is young Adam Green, only 20. It's far too long though. No Bocanegra through suspension, the American. And also Bonnie Sellers out injured, the French defender, so Adam Green getting a call up. He played last week against United and has caught the eye certainly on the few occasions he's played for Fulham so far this season. Here's that Nistelrooij back in the firing line, having been left out last week then. He came on as a late sub. He didn't go along with the manager's opinion that he was in need of a rest, saying he was surprised and disappointed to be the latest victim of the rotation policy. Here's Ronaldo, aiming for Van Nistelrooij at that far post. Giggs was in there too. A solid resistance by Fulham. I think the manager felt Van Nistelrooij was in danger of burning out, and the Dutchman will be very keen to make his point today, but that isn't the case. Ferguson expects now is a hat-trick, he says. This is Green. Now Neville. In the way was Luis Boamorte. Fulham mainly playing with the one right up front in McBride, but plenty of support through Boamorte and Malbranque. That's the plan anyway. Steve Keane was saying beforehand, he got one or two tricks up his sleeve that he didn't use last week because United changed their team. O'Shea with Scholes. Neat ball then lifted it towards Van Nistelrooij. Gomar, the French international, was tight on him. Here's Keane. Very relieved to hear this week that he can play in the next stage of the Champions League if United get through. He'll miss the game on Tuesday with Porto. But UEFA have decided that a one-match ban is sufficient for his offence in treading on Victor Bayo, the Porto goalkeeper, last week. And this was that early break for Ronaldo, and very nearly then managed to locate either Giggs or Van Nistelrooij in the centre. He's looked bright lately, Ronaldo. Certainly in the last round, in the 4-2 win over Manchester City, in which he scored. And Van Nistelrooij got a couple. Lee Clark back after 4 games out with that Achilles problem. Here's Keane. Offside. It's Van Nistelrooij. Not too much in it. There, almost to be in line. Ronaldo. Now Fletcher. He seems to be operating in a more central role than we had envisaged. Wes Brown. Now Nicky Butt anchoring in midfield. It's a very flexible United formation today. This is Ronaldo again, tucking in though down the right side. Davis. This is Gomar in tandem with Zap Knight at the back. Certainly got some height there. Zap Knight's around 6'6". And Gomar's no midget. Now Malbranque. Up comes Volts, the former Arsenal man. Scholes was an excellent defensive play there. Just underlining United's appetite for hard work in harness with their talent. Fletcher. On by Butt. That's the challenge though. Well, I thought a fair one from Legwinski. The referee didn't think so. Deciding the French front got it wrong. Not so sure about that. Keane with Philip Neville. It was straight to Zat Knight. Keane in a little robustly then. On McBride. It's a feisty challenge, to put it mildly. Yes, Darren Fletcher more or less playing alongside Butt in midfield. And Scholes taking every opportunity to get forward in support of Van Nistelrooij. And Giggs. I always felt United have looked the more balanced side when they've had 4 across midfield, particularly when Beckham was playing. Beckham on the right, Giggs on the left. That was when they were surely at their most dangerous. Well, Beckham's gone. Ronaldo hasn't quite yet fitted the bill. This is Van Nistelrooij now though, with a real chance maybe. No, it was Zap Knight very quickly across then. My word, he covered some ground to shut the door. John O'Shea. Van Nistelrooij offside. Just playing on the shoulder of the last defender, but he went a fraction too soon then, the Dutchman. But he's keen, he's eager today, and you can see that he was quite clearly in an offside position. 24 goals this season from Van Nistelrooij. Two in the FA Cup, both in the last round. There's McBride, signed for around £600,000 from Columbus Crew back home in America as Louis Saha's replacement. Neville. And he started pretty well too, McBride. Scored a cracking goal indeed in the last round replay against West Ham when Fulham eventually went through 3-0. but it was a struggle for a long period. McBride's goal, a one-hit volley, provided the catalyst. And they made it through to this quarter-final, in which they are so far holding their own. A slightly worrying moment there for Tim Howard. Then Brown with a missed kick. Oh, jitters at the back from United. Having their best FA Cup run for 5 years, and they want to keep it going. That was Fletcher. Lovely ball then into the path of Ronaldo. Van Nistelrooij. Well, in fairness to him, maybe a little off balance, as there was a defensive slip just ahead of him. He seemed to be caught off guard. Great pass in from Fletcher, releasing Ronaldo. There was a missed kick there, and then Van Nistelrooij firing wide. That Knight, who seemed to lose his balance. Down went Volts as well. And suddenly, well, the goalposts were beckoning ahead of Van Nistelrooij, but he couldn't hit the target. Malbranque, an escape then for Fulham. Now trying to create something of their own, but it's broken up by John O'Shea. He certainly had a few different roles for United in his relatively short career with them, John O'Shea. Here's Malbranque. Now Green advancing. Faced by Ronaldo. Tracking back, a la Beckham. Sean Davis, the neat and tidy player, as he emphasised there. That was anything but a tidy challenge from Nicky Butt, though, on Luis Malbranque. Malbranque with 8 goals this season. Up comes the towering figure of Zat Knight, the England under-21 international defender. And I fancy his chances, I would think, against Keenan Brown. Against the right service. That was Sean Davis, and there he was too, Zat Knight. Never scored for Fulham. He might have done here. They will be vulnerable in the air, that's for sure, United, against the likes of Knight and Brian McBride. And Fulham will be seeking to exploit any weakness back there. Here's Brown. Van Nistelrooij with the strength then to hold off Gomar. It's all rather wasted. The other news from Old Trafford, incidentally, that's emerged today is that it would seem the manager has at last settled his differences with 2 major shareholders over the racehorse, the saga that's been going on for some time. Rock of Gibraltar. The club have been concerned that the dispute was in danger of splitting United apart, but it seems now the matter may well have been resolved. Volts. Now Malbranque. This is Lee Clark. Fulham are a passing team, capable of some very enterprising football, as they showed here back in October. But now it's Van Nistelrooij. On to Fletcher, the young Scottish international. Here's Ronaldo. And a challenge by Green, though, to deny him any further progress. Fletcher. And the promise faded. Davis. Now Volts. Signed from Arsenal earlier in the season, and very much a fixture now at right back. Just too much competition really at Highbury for him. Legwitsky. Well, it was a speculative effort then from Malbranque, and no test for Tim Howard. Malbranque will be hoping, of course, to be on duty for Portugal in the European Championship finals. Certainly been a danger to Premiership defences this season. Knight on by Legwinski. Keane in the way. Does read the play so admirably, Roy Keane. But of course United will miss his drive from midfield. O'Shea finding Fletcher a little fortuitously is Cristiano Ronaldo. Well, the idea was there, not the execution though with that pass. Still stepping out of the game, remember, Cristiano Ronaldo, he's only 19. Plenty of time to develop. And he has such thrilling skill. Malbranque for Fulham. Should be Browns. He's quick. Just has looked a little suspect in the air since coming back into the United team. Phil Neville looking to deliver for Van Nistelrooij. That was Scholes. Then Van Nistelrooij to Giggs. They've got three in the box now. With Ronaldo arriving as well as Van Nistelrooij and Scholes. No harm done from Fulham's perspective. Van der Sar has been an excellent last line of defence for them this season. Notably in the first game against West Ham in the last round. And he kept a clean sheet in the first game at Upton Park. And defied the hammers with some outstanding work. He's on record as saying he's been disappointed by what he sees as Fulham's lack of ambition. When he signed from Juventus, they promised other big names would follow, but that hasn't really been the case. Van der Sar, having been used to winning so many trophies early on in his career with Ajax, has won nothing since. Nothing with Juventus and nothing with Fulham. Dave Besant alongside Steve Keane there, helping out on the goalkeeping side. Keane, unflappable as ever. Under pressure here from McBride, who's kept it alive too. In goes Malbranque. Well, it was a rash challenge by Brown, and that is a penalty. Well, I was just praising Keane for his coolness at the back, but he lost out to McBride, whose determination paid off, and then Brown sliced down Malbranque. Keane trying to let the ball run out of play. Maybe it had gone out. And that was a terrible challenge really by Brown. Missed the ball completely, but certainly did not miss Malbranque. What an opportunity here then for Fulham. Malbranque is still receiving attention. And Steve Malbranque looking to compose himself here and try to beat Tim Howard in that United goal. Almost at the midway point in the first half of this FA Cup quarter-final. Malbranque scores! And United's bogey team are up and running again. A miscalculation by Wes Brown. And Steve Malbranque has taken full advantage. Thumping this home. No chance for Howard. Well, he's a real favourite with the Fulham fans, Steve Malbranque, even more so now. He may not be too far away from a call-up for the French senior squad, an under-21 international. It's a vital moment for Fulham. They have the lead at Old Trafford. Again. Lee Clark having them in front, I think, after just 3 minutes in the league game here back in October. Green's out of position now. Van Nistelrooij hoping to cash in, but back comes Green. Headed then by Davis. United have to come from behind. Stunning blow for Sir Alex Ferguson's team to suffer. How quickly can they respond? Here's Nicky Butts. Half-hearted appeals for a penalty, mainly from the crowd, not from the player. Now Brown. How much will that unnerve him, I wonder? Keane. Oof, wasn't the best of clearances then by Howard. But he's managed to locate John O'Shea. It's Scholes now. That really has raised the temperature of this cup tie. It was always going to be quite a tough one for United. It certainly is now. Fulham was 6-1 to win today. United 11-4 on. Maybe the bookies have got it wrong. Ryan Giggs hoping to prove otherwise. It's Van Nistelrooij! He's back, and he's back with a goal. The lead didn't last too long, just 3 minutes. Van Nistelrooij, angry at being omitted last week, will feel he's made a point here now. He's made that determined dash into the middle. Defenders aren't close enough to him, and he has lashed it home. A wonderful ball in by Ryan Giggs. Goal number 25 for Ruud van Nistelrooij this season. His third in the FA Cup, and Manchester United are back on level terms. And Fulham's joy is decidedly short-lived. And now Old Trafford is really bubbling. Votes for Fulham. We need to regroup now. Just settle things down for a few minutes. Sean Davis. Cross comes Neville on Malbranque. Green. Legwinski. Now Ronaldo had read that flick then by Malbranque. Legwinski again. Malbranque. He slipped that just beyond Brian McBride. That leads to Roy stretching. There's Alan Goma. Such a big weakness for Manchester United. Porto coming up in midweek in the Champions League. They have a 2-1 deficit to overturn. And then it's the Manchester derby at the weekend against City. Ferguson believing we will see the best of his team in these 3 games. Well, that's not quite been the case so far. But at least they're level. Not his faults. Malbranque. Now Legwinski's fellow countryman. This is Fletcher. Working really hard in that United midfield. Keane. It's too long for Van Nistelrooij. Bride with Legwinski. Got a runner down the right too in Volts here. Cross comes O'Shea. Now it's Malbranque. Getting some nifty footwork. Fletcher. Laid off by McBride to Davis. He doesn't score all that often. Couldn't quite keep it down. A young man who is in the thinking of the England coach by all accounts. But of course a lot of competition for midfield places. Where's Brown? Another who'll be hoping to be there in Euro 2004. But I think has some work to do now to catch up on those above him in the pecking order. Free kick to Fulham, who came through against Cheltenham, Everton and West Ham then to reach this stage. had a tough time too against Everton, needing a replay to overcome them. Paul Scholes, who got 2 in the third round win for United over Aston Villa. Was Keane hoping to pick out Van Nistelrooij. Knight had got with him. Now Malbranque. A little short on the pass though, telegraphed by Ryan Giggs. He was also left out last weekend, Giggs, and like Van Nistelrooij came on as a sub. But he was saying, well, maybe the manager got it right. Perhaps we did need to freshen up a little. Having said that, Fulham, I can tell you, were mighty pleased at seeing the team sheet when it came in the dressing room. No Van Nistelrooij, no Giggs, no Howard. Not to mention the likes of Neville and Sylvestre, who's out injured. And of course, Rio Ferdinand. To United, 10 times winners of the FA Cup. They've been in 15 finals, hoping now to reach the last 4 for the 23rd time. That is some record. Roy Keane lost his concentration again, and I think tripped Malbranque. Well, he's claiming otherwise, but looked a clear trip to me, and it is a yellow card indeed for Keane. Seemed to be dithering, and he was caught by Malbranque and then surely tugged him back. I don't think there was any question about it. Not praising him again. It's twice now he's let me down. Sean Davis taking this kick then for Fulham with half an hour gone. Plenty to aim for. But Howard hanging on. He's had a marvellous first season, Tim Howard. Since coming to Old Trafford, displacing Fabian Barthez. Just 1 or 2 little lapses lately, but nothing really to dwell on. Malbranque with John O'Shea in very close attendance. Brian McBride. Now Giggs, just 1 goal in his last 12 games. He's looking very vibrant today. It was a wonderful cross that set up the equaliser for Ruud van Nistelrooij. Again, the thought was there. Some uncharacteristic slips by Roy Keane. One in particular, which was really costly, leading to that penalty, tucked away by Steve Malbranque. But United soon replying for Ruud van Nistelrooij, the Dutchman with over 100 goals already for the club. Malbranque. He's looked a threat throughout this first half. Clark was a little sluggish though. Now Van Nistelrooij running into a 2-man brick wall. And then the ball loose off Nicky Butt to Volts. Malbranque. Here's Davis. A lot is channeled through him for Fulham. Malbranque. Again, Volts giving willing support down that right side. Very keen to get forward, but not on the same wavelength as Malbranque in the end. Hardly played for Arsenal or Volts, but very much a regular now for Fulham. Van Nistelrooij. Is there some holding there by Volts? No, apparently not. And now the referee, Rob Starr's, allowing the advantage. Taken up by Lee Clark. He certainly isn't writing off United in the title race. He remembers the mid-90s when Newcastle, who he was playing for at the time, had a 12-point lead over United and it was wiped out. And Ferguson's team went on to take the championship. Phil Neville, another who has underlined his versatility this season. quite exceptional in midfield. But needs must, so it's right back for him today. Slipped then by the Fulham left back, Adam Green. Neville. Davis to Legwitsky. Being eagerly closed down then by Darren Fletcher. His exuberance has been a feature in midfield. Not quite the free-flowing side though that we expect United to be. And the way they've been defending, even Sir Alex Ferguson was joking this week, we might have a score 4 or 5 to make sure we win. Neville's long ball in search of Giggs. Fletcher. Now Davis, Fulham keen to get the ball down and play. Lewis Boamorte. Bent in towards McBride, McKean is there. Getting plenty of encouragement from this huge Old Trafford fan crowd. Sell out again, of course. Good strike, oh, hit the crossbar! From Zach Knight. Well, there really seemed to be no danger at all, as it was flicked up into his path by Malbranque. It was a super effort then from Zach Knight. Howard was beaten, and the crossbar came to his rescue as it bounced off it. Well, he seems determined to score today. Another really worrying moment then for United, and it came from nowhere. Van Nistelrooij. Another reminder then to United what this Fulham team are capable of. They've taken 5 points off them in the league. Ronaldo, good delivery, but it's behind those incoming forwards. Then Nicky Butt. Showing commendable persistence. It's Ronaldo's cross. Flicked on. Van Nistelrooij couldn't get his shot away, but Giggs can! And somehow Fulham survive. Goodness me. Desperate defending back there. Here's Brown now, marauding forward for United. Scenting a second goal. Giggs will feel he should have one, really. That was the first ball in by Ronaldo, flicked on by Giggs. Van Nistelrooij couldn't get it under control. But Giggs had far more time, and it was a wasted opportunity. Strong hustling here by United. But Fulham equally committed. But it was given away a little carelessly by McBride. Van Nistelrooij. Well, he could have had a hat-trick already. Fantastic goal-scoring record with United. He's got one then today. Could have been more. Good play then by Malbranque. Here's Wes Brown. Put under pressure. But United's throw. Fletcher. Now it's Neville. As United will become sweeping forward again. Fletcher. He's got Ronaldo with him. Still Cristiano Ronaldo. Maybe they've now lost a little of that momentum. Roy Keane. And there is an offside flag against Neville, I think. Getting tangled up then with Sean Davis. I'm not sure that Neville did too much wrong. Brown getting the better of McBride in the air. He's may not happen too often. There's Davis. Clark that time. It was Davis, that's right the first time. Ronaldo, instant control. How can he stretch Fulham here? Well, he might have done. Up for the foul by Green, who did seem to panic a little. It's painful for Ronaldo. But can United now inflict further damage? Took a whack from Malbranque as well. One of those trickling feet can embarrass any defender. He does rather tend to over-elaborate sometimes, and they've been working on that. Certainly Van Nistelrooij has been left a frustrated figure in the middle on many occasions. I think they're saying to Ronaldo, you can beat your man once, you don't have to go back and do it again. So here is Ryan Giggs, again taking on the responsibility. O'Shea is up from the back. Giggs whipping it in. Oh, how close was that? As Keane dived forward, he almost made contact. It just whistled past the post. And Nistelrooij wasn't far away either. Maybe if he'd really stretched there, would have made contact. Van der Sar very relieved to see that one go past the far post. And another chance goes a-begging for United. Brown with McBride. Here's Nicky Butt, looking for that early ball. Van Nistelrooij. Outsmarted though by Gomar. And here's Keane mopping up. Receiving McBride. And now the American goalkeeper, Tim Howard. 5 minutes of the first half to go. There is Malbranque with Davis and Clark here. And a foul by Brown. Yes, he just went right through Malbranque. He's causing plenty of concern back there with his pace and his strength and his positive attacking play. Clark and Davis in conversation here, hoping they can come up with a ploy to break United down again. They've scored once, they've hit the crossbar. Here's Sean Davis. Half a chance for Legwinski. Just couldn't put it away. And he had two bites at it then. United looking rather uncertain back there. And with a better finish, that would have been 2 for Fulham. Sylvain Legwinski. And he knows what a decent chance that was. Hasn't scored yet this season, but he's got a few in the past. Malbranque. That's good play then by Scholes. As United break very quickly. Giggs. Scholes getting forward now. Oh, a lovely run here by Giggs. He kept going superbly. But didn't fall kindly for United. As Fulham resist. Darren Fletcher. Don't think Ronaldo will reach that one. And so much to admire about the run then from Giggs. That was the Ryan Giggs of old. Mesmerising defenders, so keen to take them on. And when he's in that kind of mood, he's very, very hard to stop. But in the end, nothing on for Van Nistelrooij in the middle. Nudged on by McBride. Here's Malbranque. Out by Brown. Malbranque taking on O'Shea. He's got Clark with him if he needs it. And O'Shea getting a foot in. Just hasn't looked quite the secure figure of last season, John O'Shea. Plenty of encouragement for Steve Keane down there on the Fulham bench. Chris Coleman's number 2. Former director of the Youth Academy at Fulham. Stepping up since Coleman's appointment as manager and the departure of Jean Tigana. He's a Glaswegian Steve Keane, so he and Alex Ferguson will make themselves understood down on the sidelines there. And of course, United have a new number 2 themselves. Walter Smith has taken on that role this week, the former Rangers and Everton manager, helping Sir Alex out until the end of the season at least. With those two in charge, there won't be too many breakdowns in discipline, I can tell you. Roy Keane. 1 more minute will be added on at the end of the first 45 for stoppages. Curious ball then by Keane. Van der Sar beaten just the once by his fellow Dutchman, Ruud van Nistelrooij. As we see confirmation of the time added on. That was Knight. Legwitsky with Davis. But in comes Ronaldo. Yes, it's a foul by Fletcher. Clark, who took a tumble. Legwitsky. Now Green. Not a bad ball in either, but dealt with by Brown. Morte. Fulham striving for some joy here right at the end of the half. Neville made sure it didn't happen. Then Van Nistelrooij losing out. Green. He does get some good balance down the left, but he lost his balance there when he was certainly upended by Neville. Showing too much aggression. It's the last action of the first half, I think. No, just time for the yellow card first. Given by Rob Stiles to Neville. So the referee's found a few more seconds from somewhere. Knight hoping to cause some havoc again. Out by Brown, but not very effectively. That is the half-time whistle. Well, it was Wes Brown who gave away the penalty. Steve Malbranque steering Fulham in front. They promised United a hard game today. Certainly proving to be that. Morte, who was sent flying. Malbranque making no mistake for the penalty kick. But a swift response from Manchester United, who asked Ruud van Nistelrooij back in the starting 11 today, back with a goal. And at half-time, well, it's still anyone's contest, though. Manchester United won, Fulham won in this FA Cup quarter-final at Old Trafford, awarded to an away team in this ground this season. But Van Nistelrooij restoring parity. Louis Morte was the man who was brought down by Wes Brown for that penalty kick. Van Nistelrooij with his 9th FA Cup goal in 8 ties. So already in his relatively short career with United, showing a relish for this competition, which United haven't won since 1999. Fulham hoping to go through at their expense and reach their second semi-final in 3 seasons. Here's Ronaldo threatening straight away, and they've had some joy down the flanks, United. Maybe Fulham's fullbacks getting caught out a little too often. That was the case again here. Look, he's just about onside, I suppose. And Green had to recover quickly. Away by Keane, who a few weeks back was chastising the younger players in the team, saying that they were underachieving. Not really setting the right example today, or indeed with his sending off against Porto. And he trod on their goalkeeper and got himself sent off. Here is Keane now. Named by Pele in FIFA's all-time top 100. Well, those still playing anyway, although he's still alive today. Not still playing. Necessarily. Keane's in there and so is Van Nistelrooij. But Ryan Giggs, surprisingly, left out. This is the 9th FA Cup meeting between these two clubs, and Fulham haven't beaten United since the first game back in 1908. But they'll be pretty satisfied with their afternoon's work so far. Steve Keane taking charge this afternoon in the absence of Chris Coleman. I gather he was on the phone to him during the interval. Coleman in his hospital bed watching the game and having a telephone link with his number 2 here. But I'm sure there will have been some concern about the success United were having on the flanks. Brian McBride combining well with Boamorte, trying to step away from Keane. They got it wrong again. Not quite reaching his usual high standards so far, Roy Keane. Boamorte and McBride giving him and Brown plenty to think about. That night here hit the crossbar in the first half, coming so close to scoring his first ever goal for the club. That was a right risky head from Fletcher, that back pass. He's got away with it. Now Nicky Butt, no longer a fixture in this United team. Probably wouldn't have played today had Keane been in midfield rather than defence. Barter, of course, nearly moved on during the transfer window back in January. There he is now. The referee saying play on. It looked like a trip on Fletcher. But United did have possession. And it's with Fletcher now. Then Cristiano Ronaldo. Fletcher again. Put it on for Ryan Giggs. Good save by Edwin van der Sar. Spread himself superbly then. That is a top-class save. He revealed this week that United did try to sign him at one stage. Certainly were inquiring into the possibility, but they went for Mark Bosnich instead. That was an excellent stop then to defy Ryan Giggs. He will always be remembered for that wonder goal in the semi-final replay back in '99 against Arsenal. Has there ever been a better one in the FA Cup, I wonder? That was a chance then for Lee Clark, that suddenly came his way. The scorer here, remember, so early on in the league meeting in October. Here's again an anxious moment for Wes Brown, as McBride made it awkward for him. I think Clark firing wide. Keane on the back foot. Way by Gomar. Ronaldo. Wanting one touch too many. On the retreat was Luis Belmonte. Well in, Phil Neville. Now Brown. Hooked on to Giggs. Bolts in quickly. He's maybe rather overcommitted himself now, having to chase back. Only needn't have worried. Here's Malbranque. He's had another very effective game today. Fletcher curtailing his run. United so anxious to keep this FA Cup run going. The danger as things stand at the moment of finishing empty-handed at the end of the season for only the third time in the last 14 years. So much success for United under Alex Ferguson, but he says himself, look, one trophy's okay. And that is now perhaps their best opportunity of winning something. Well, I've got a Solskjaer being warmed up there. Perhaps we'll see him pretty soon. He hasn't featured in the senior team, remember, since September, after a serious knee problem. Here's Belmonte. Sending United again. Brown's header to Legwinski. Never afraid to shy at goal, this fellow. He had that effort in the first half. Brown. Now Roy Keane. 3 times an FA Cup winner. Feeling there alongside Sir Alex Ferguson. And of course Walter Smith, the new number 2. Been useful, says Sir Alex, to have a fresh voice on the training ground this week. He's already spotted a few things that might be rectified. Made a few useful points. Very, very experienced manager, of course. Roy Keane, their Lieutenant-in-Chief, out on the field. Given away by Davis. Now Fletcher, caught by Belmonte, but unfairly so. The referee deciding the challenge was a little too spiteful. And there's an injury for Fulham. I think it might be Davis. Here it is. We don't want to lose him. He's the engine in midfield. On with Clark. Yes, the boot was a little high then from Neville, who was cautioned in the first half. So riding his luck a little there. Doesn't want to emulate brother Gary, being shown a red card in this season's FA Cup. Ronaldo leaving the throw for Phil Neville. Here's the young Portuguese now, Ronaldo, then Neville to bend it in. It's a good ball as well. One with Coat, just about. McBride. Now well in Fletcher. And Scholes for the nifty touch. Fletcher claiming he was manhandled. I think it's going to be a booking for Volts. He knocked it past him here. Off the ball, really. Fletcher was sent tumbling by the young German defender. But can United make the most of it? Giggs, Ronaldo, Scholes, all in attendance here. Well, they have missed Beckham, no question about that. In this kind of situation, let's see what they can come up with in his absence. It's Ronaldo, and it's smacked against the crossbar. Well, he bent that in beautifully then. Beckham himself would have been proud of that. Only an inch or two away from putting his team in front. Certainly to see Van der Sar. A curl on this. I think the keeper could do as it swerved past him. Ronaldo scored in the last round. Very close to repeating the trick. Now it's Roy Keane. Hoping United can keep things tight at the back. 15 goals they've let in now in 8 games. Very unlike them. Here's Malbranque, who scored against them a week ago. And he outmanoeuvred Wes Brown. Couldn't get away from Neville though. Legwinski putting it on to Malbranque. That was Brown. He's found Keane, if that was what he intended. Ronaldo. And that was Malbranque sliding in from behind. That may well be a caution for him. Rod Styles standing for no nonsense. So he joins Moritz Volz in the notebook from Fulham's end. Phil Neville and Roy Keane have been cautioned for United. Headed out by Fletcher, rather lamely. Here's Malbranque. Good scrapping though by Fletcher. Looking really tenacious today. But, and it's no reflection on him, or indeed on anyone else playing in midfield, but for my money, they are not quite the same side when Roy Keane is not in that department. So Fulham hanging on in there, hoping incidentally to be the first team to beat United at Old Trafford twice in the same season, since Spurs did it back in 1989-90 season. In the league and in the League Cup. Well, this is the FA Cup. It's even Stevens. Almost an hour played in this quarter-final. Paul Scholes. That was Neville. Should be Knight's ball. Not many are going to out-jump him. So unlucky when that effort in the first half ricocheted off the crossbar. Fulham so far have given an excellent account of themselves and are still very much in this contest. Wes Brown just lumping it forward really. This is Knight. We're going to Fulham from non-league football. Now it's Malbranque, the former Arsenal and Southampton man. No pressure on Knight. No pressure at all, and he was very careless then in almost giving it away. Here's Brown. Now then to Keane. Knight cancelling out Van Nistelrooij's threat. That's Volz. Malbranque. And here's Steve Malbranque for Fulham. We're not allowing United to dominate. Really scrapping for possession. Posing one or two problems when they come forward too. Clark. It's broken up by Brown. Here's John O'Shea. Now Van Nistelrooij. Sergeant holding it up. Yes, and he was brought down then by Knight. Paul Scholes spotting the run here of Giggs. So too though of Volts. He did well to cut him out. He kept his concentration then. Oh, did he need to? But here's Ronaldo. Checking this corner for United. It was Davis who headed it away. On by Nicky Butt to Fletcher. Now it's Neville. Aiming for Wes Brown up there. Van der Sar is plucking it out of the air. Now Pembridge and Barry Hales being prepared here. Pembridge a midfielder. Hales who plays up top. Fletcher. Another excellent ball by him to Ronaldo. And look at Van Nistelrooij in the middle if he can find him. And he has! That's the service that he thrives on. He knew exactly where to be. And it was such an accurate ball in. Fletcher involved in the build-up heavily. Such an incisive pass by him. And they've always been dangerous down the flanks. Underlined here, Ronaldo skipping free. And they again can't get to Van Nistelrooij in time. Just as happened for the first goal. Well, the manager was predicting a hat-trick for Van Nistelrooij on his return today. He might just be right. He has two now. And if he feels that's underlining a point, well then so be it. Sir Alex Ferguson won't mind that. 4 attempts at goal, he's scored from 2 of them. And Manchester United are in the driving seat as Barry Hales comes on for Fulham. Pembridge on as well. Ronaldo. Played in for Neville. And it's a corner to United, whose tails are up now. McBride and Negwinski, incidentally, are the 2 players who've been replaced for Fulham. Yet another double for Van Nistelrooij. It's his 5th now in the FA Cup. Remarkable stuff from the Dutch superstar. Ronaldo laid it on for him. Just as Giggs had done from the left with the first goal. Here is Giggs now with the corner. As United look to drive home this advantage, Ronaldo, Van der Sar didn't really make it. Fulham clinging on, it's Nicky Butt. Wide to Giggs. No offside, Van Nistelrooij. Confirmation there of the changes. Something like for like really, Pembridge in midfield. Barry Hales now the main target man up front. Here's Knight. Throw, says Van Nistelrooij. And the referee's assistant concurs with that assessment. Tipped on by Giggs to Van Nistelrooij. Absolutely deadly in the centre. But then from those positions he wasn't going to miss, was he? Nothing really that Van der Sar could do. The cover just was not sufficient. Fully stretched down the flanks again. Hales has been bundled over. It's a useful man to bring on, Barry Hales. Always capable of coming up with something. Got 5 goals this season. But of course they are missing Louis Saha. Their loss has been very much Manchester United's gain. From the early impression that he's given since switching to Old Trafford. A controversial move. Fulham did not want to sell him. And at various points proclaiming they've been bullied really into parting with him. Here's Fletcher, it's another great ball. Almost anyway. This time Van der Sar was quickly up to thwart the danger. But the vision of Fletcher, once again very much to the fore. Cristiano Ronaldo. United now bursting to add to their lead. Fletcher's ball in. Away by Knight to Pembridge. Welsh international. Here's Brown. And Fletcher. That was Giggs challenging. This time to no avail. Volts. Put in by Malbranque. A good sturdy challenge from O'Shea. He needs a few decent games under his belt now, I think, to restore his confidence. He has looked a little low on morale in recent weeks. Davis with Volts. This is Sean Davis now. Volts was going nowhere. John O'Shea. Van Nistelrooij. Then Scholes knitting in. Fulham with a man down. Volts, I believe. Referee Styles letting play go on for the moment. But now Volts can receive some attention. Took a whack then, presuming from that challenge with Scholes. Nothing sinister on Scholes' part. Although Scholes is in trouble for violent conduct in the game against Middlesbrough recently when he was involved in a clash off the ball with Deriva, which the referee, I think Paul Durkin it was, didn't see. The FA have now charged Scholes with violent conduct and he is seeking a personal hearing. He can be a fiery little character. Brown getting the better of Hales. Volts is now back on for Fulham, so they're back to full strength, but trailing in this FA Cup quarter-final. They need some inspiration. Malbranque trying to find some against O'Shea. The Irish defender standing his ground well. Shoved in on Malbranque, it seemed. And the referee didn't think so. They're up against it now, Fulham. But they've grafted hard here and should not be written off yet. Now something happened there as the ball was played away. Clark being told to keep out of it. Referee Styles wants a word with Malbranque. He's looking suitably bemused by it all. What, me? And only a reprimand. A bit of retribution. So Scholes clashed earlier with Volts. It was a bit late then, Malbranque. The referee has taken a lenient view. Malbranque already yellow carded earlier. Sean Davis. Scholes won it back very well. Shows real bite to his game. Hill's out-jumped. Their place in the last four. Not yet secure, but they are heading in the right direction. Such a marvellous FA Cup team back in the 90s, of course. Barry Hales left aggrieved. Less than 20 minutes to go. United hoping now they have established a grip, thanks to the double strike yet again from Ruud van Nistelrooij. Ten goals now in 8 FA Cup ties. He's got 2 against Villa, Portsmouth, West Ham, Manchester City and now Fulham. We're trying to get up the head of steam here with the Clark. But it was a futile journey in the end for him. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, will he make his entrance soon? He didn't play in the reserves in midweek, and the feeling was he was being held back for this one. And of course, there's the European tie on Tuesday to think about. When United have to turn around that 2-1 defeat in Portugal against Porto. It won't be easy. But having said that, 1-0 would do it. Forward by Green. Here's Malbranque. Keane was there first. Curious leap by Ronaldo. Rather unorthodox. Not very effective. Keane was struggling against Hales. Brown nearly tugged him then. Just managed to keep himself in check. In the end, no threat on goal. For a Fulham team who've had very little away success really since their triumph here in the league back in October. Their only away success has been in the FA Cup at West Ham in the last round, a 3-0 win in the replay. They've lost the lead here, but they are still battling. Malbranque. Outcut by Ronaldo. Here comes Phil Neville storming forward. Ronaldo just checked his run then, maybe thought he was offside. And that enabled Gomar to sweep up. As we near the last quarter of an hour of this game, Van Nistelrooij, is he to be the hero for United yet again? Giggs now. Rather a show, I should say. Giggs are tucked inside. And here is the change, is it? Well, I think there's about to be a substitution. United throw. No, it's just an injury actually to Clark. And here is the United change. It's Jemba actually who's coming on in place of Roy Keane. Being spared the last 15 minutes to keep it fresh, I would imagine. Well, as you say, for Tuesday, you can't play in that one, of course, but battles to come. Unless there's an injury there. Jemba doesn't feature too often. This is the Cameroon international, signed from Nantes back in the summer. Yes, the word from the sidelines, there is an injury to Roy Keane. Some switching around to do tactically. Meantime, it's Scholes. Now Neville. This is Ronaldo. Now Jemba. Put it on for Van Nistelrooij. The flag was up. Not a great deal in it. Brown and O'Shea in the middle of the back line now. Giggs dropping back. Neville. So Keane taking no further part in the game. Not quite sure what the injury is. I thought it was a little surprising they'd taken him off. Even with the need to use him a little sparingly these days. Volts. Linking with Malbranque, still Volts, then Hales. A little tentative though with his delivery. Look at the space that Ronaldo's got now. Defenders pushing up, trying to catch Van Nistelrooij offside. Now Jemba joining in. Here's Neville. Darren Fletcher. Outwitted this time. It's Hales. And then Pembridge. Asking a lot though of Hales. For all his willingness and endeavour. Gomar rolling it on to Volts. Time beginning to run out for Fulham. Not creating too much in truth now. Good jump by Knight, who has a head start on everyone. Here's Fletcher. Now Scholes. Neville losing out. But United quick to regain possession. Fletcher. Neatly on then for Phil Neville. Van Nistelrooij made a charge into the middle. This is Ronaldo. Hoping for a swing at goal. Volts just reaching that cross in time. And another goal now would surely see off Fulham's challenge. He could be the man. Ruud Van Nistelrooij. Worryingly, there seems to be an injury there. Where's Brown? Good ball. He's found Fletcher. Now Neville and Scholes. United playing the game in Fulham's half here. Can they find a cutting edge? Ronaldo. That was Jemba in the way. Fulham trying to spring something here on the counter. But Clark wanted too much time. United wouldn't give it to him. Here's Fletcher. And that's a foul by Hales, who is protesting here that he won it cleanly. And for my money, he was always struggling. Referee Styles. Felt he just side him down. There. No, he played the ball. In fairness to Hales, there was nothing wrong with that. He can count himself very unlucky. Especially should United score from this. I think when Ross Styles sees that one again on the video, he'll be a little embarrassed. Ryan Giggs taking the kick. O'Shea is up from the back to join Van Nistelrooij. Here is Giggs. No real pressure on Volts. He headed it out. He had more time than he realised. It was Gomar. Firmly and decisively Is going off, and Bobby Petter, the Dutchman, who had his first Premiership start last week, is coming on to take his place. Petter, who's on loan from Celtic, arrived on New Year's Eve, started against Cheltenham in the FA Cup, and was on the subs bench against Everton and West Ham, and he started to return at Upton Park against the Hammers. The offender then was Pendridge. As United look to put this game to bed. Less than 10 minutes for Fulham to save the tie and deny United their place in the last four. Now Scholes got to have a crack at goal from here. That might well be the case. Touched off by Giggs to Scholes. Oh, Morty flung himself in his path to keep Fulham's hopes alive. Well, it certainly has been a majestic United performance, but it's looking more and more as if it might just be enough. Ronaldo has had some really bright moments and is now adapting to the English game and the demands of it. And I'm sure in years to come he will prove a wonderful signing. Djemba. I don't think United have seen the best of him yet. That was Gomar. Djemba. There's some pulling by Sean Davis, much to his frustration. United just edging their way to victory. Well, I wonder, do Fulham have left in the locker? Morty going down on O'Shea. Body's in the way. Only a corner in the end as Malbranque arrived on the scene. Djemba. And some very necessary defending. Morty got a ricochet then off the legs of Wes Brown. After Hales had done well initially. Here's Mark Pendridge. Tim Howard stayed on his line and O'Shea forced into conceding the corner. Fresh hope then for Fulham. Bobby Petter. St. Davis on that near post. United well represented in defence though, as Fletcher clears. Van der Sar turns sweeper. Aiming for Hales. That was Djemba. In goes Volts. It's United's throw. Don't think he realises it yet. Now he does. Well, it's certainly been an intriguing FA Cup quarter-final. Pictures being beamed to over 40 countries around the world today, including many I know in Africa. I hope you're enjoying this match, which isn't over yet. Fulham straining every sinew now to stay in the FA Cup, a competition they have never won. At the moment being outmanoeuvred by the club who've won it a record 10 times. Is this to be their year again? Later on, of course, Arsenal are in action. The FA Cup favourites. Away to Portsmouth. Van Nistelrooij. Pendridge stayed strong. Here's Malbranque. Just nudged away then by John O'Shea. And Fletcher. I think has enhanced his reputation this afternoon. Not easy following in the footsteps of the likes of Beckham. Ronaldo and Fletcher both done well. And here's Van Nistelrooij, and Van der Sar had to be on his guard again. Steve Malbranque. Fulham haven't seen as much of him in the second half as they would have liked. Hales. That was on Shea, managing to smuggle it clear, but only as far as Bobby Petter. Corner if it goes, but Howard very quick then to spot the danger. And snuff it out. He has such keen coordination, ball hand to eye. He was a top basketball player. That must have something to do with it. Alan Goma. Now Malbranque. Dispossessed though by Ryan Giggs in his defensive role. Eric Jemba. 3 minutes left, plus injury time. Now Ronaldo. Van Nistelrooij waiting in the middle. Still Van Nistelrooij, Ronaldo I should say. Not quite good enough though to beat Edwin van der Sar. And Ole Gunnar Solskjaer getting a warm reception here from the United fans. They've certainly missed him. Finally back now after long-term injury. There were problems. He's replacing Ronaldo. He's also getting quite a send-off from the supporters here. There were complications with his knee injury, which delayed his return, Solskjaer. But so often in the past, he's shown what he can do from the bench. And had he been fit this season, I'm sure would have been really pushing for a place down the right side, where he was often used last season. A player who rarely misses the target with his shooting. Barry Hales. Now Belmonte squeezing it on. Oh, Howard stretching out then. And a vital save. Fulham might have sneaked an equaliser then, but for his awareness. Then Hales taking out his frustration, and that'll earn him a yellow card. And a moment of real promise then for Fulham. Linking play well. Belmonte, who's always so direct. Well, two players then beyond the keeper for Fulham. And it needed that touch. Reacted really quickly then, Tim Howard, to remind us of his goalkeeping prowess. The 90 minutes are almost up. Petter being hounded by Jemba, but unfairly. Free kick to Fulham. And they may not have too many chances left now. 67,000 people are gone now as we near stoppage time. The long ball from Van der Sar. And Tim Howard happy to let that one run out for a goal kick on that night. There will be 3 more minutes. Can his team yet turn this round? Steve Keane. Sir Alex Ferguson looking pretty relaxed. That night, covering the run of Van Nistelrooij. Such a a wonderful theatre of football this, and there is a suggestion that the capacity might even be increased in the future to 75,000 at some stage. They'll be filling in the corners of the North Stand. You can't get tickets for Man United with love nor money. Jemba. A neat little turn of pace then. He might go all the way here. Well, it was blatant obstruction by Gomar. Yet another booking. Just spirited run then by Jemba. Gomar clearly felt he had no option but to bring him down, with 90 seconds or so remaining. United in no real hurry. There's Jemba. Then Volts for Fulham. A rather tired lunge then. Jemba, much the fresher of the two. Here's Solskjaer. Even fresher still. Nicky Butt. He's given United that solidity in midfield again, as he always does. Solskjaer, who's bound to be a little rusty. Van Nistelrooij, who's been sharp enough. This is Petter now. Got the luck of the bounce off Butt. That's Jemba. Showing such dexterity too. And you would think now that time has run out. A little cameo role here from Jemba in the last few minutes. Van Nistelrooij. How do you contain this man? Still Van Nistelrooij. Missed a couple of chances early on, remember, but deadly since with his double strike. Now it's Scholes. Phil Neville. Surely only seconds left. Scholes to whip it across, straight at Van der Sar, but it's all over, and Manchester United claim their place